I know that this is a common trait that every single one of my clients or mentors that have businesses worth hundreds of millions of dollars, they will shoot first and figure it out after with 100% confidence that no matter what happens, they have the ability to solve it. Let me give you a stupid example at the airport. Right now I'm in Aruba with my girlfriend and her family for the week. And I was flying in from Medellin, Colombia, which is where I've been living for the past 2 months. But when I got to the airport, I went to go check in. I had my entire fucking suitcase and life with me. And so I gave the lady my passport, and there's some ED thing that you need to pay to get into Aruba, so I had that up on my phone. They didn't speak much English because it was a local Colombian airline, and I don't speak any Spanish. And she was saying, she was like, you need your yellow fever vaccine card. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't even know what yellow fever is, first off, but I know that I don't need one to go to Aruba. And so eventually she pulled up the thing and said, if you are flying from Colombia to Aruba, you need a physical copy of your yellow fever vaccine. Right away, when she said that, I said, oh, I have one. And so I looked it up on Google and said yellow fever vaccine card. And I said, here it is. She said, no, you need your physical copy. This isn't going to do. I said, oh, it's in Boston or Massachusetts. That's where I'm originally from. It's not going to be possible to get it, but I have it online here. She said, I'm sorry, but you can't board. I was like, what the fuck kind of bullshit is this? Kind of Nazi prison camp are we living in where I can't have a digital copy of a card? First off, it wasn't real because I just looked it up minutes prior. But then I was thinking, well, fuck, how the hell am I going to get to Aruba? And so my first thought was, let me see if there's any flights where I fly from a different country that does not require this retarded card to enter and then go right to Aruba, which I couldn't find, at least that day. So I said, all right, I guess what I'll need to do is, I was like, all right, fine. I have like 45 minutes before my flight takes off. I'm going to go and I'm going to go fake one, obviously. The same thing that I would do for whatever. So I make a fake vaccine card with all my information, all the stuff, and then I need to get it printed out. So I'm fucking Google translating how I can say, hey, can I pay to use your printer in Spanish? And so I'm going to every single one of these shops at the airport and say, do you have a printer? And eventually one of them had a printer and they said, yeah, sorry, but you need to have cash. I'm not going to take card for you to use it. I was like, well, I don't fucking have cash. I just gave it all to my cleaner before I left. So she had extra cash. And so I was like, fuck. Well, I was like, what if I go buy something from your store? And then I was like, this is an emergency. I really need to use it. And so I ended up buying something. They let me use the printer and it was all fucked up. So then I ended up getting a hat because I know that I was not very pleasant to the lady of a friend because I was very confused saying like, dude, you didn't tell me I needed a yellow fever vaccine when I booked the flight. How the fuck am I supposed to know and bring it? And I don't even know what the yellow fever is, let alone have a vaccine card for it. And first off, that's an incredible, authoritative, ridiculous rule from flying from a certain country to a certain country, needing a physical copy of a vaccine, even needing a vaccine, tangent aside. I'm trying to cut out the sides to where it looks like it's more of a vaccine card. I'm folding it up to where it looks like it was in my pocket. I have a hat on. I try and sneak in line and I try and go to a different person that's working the counter. And I try and give them all my stuff. I'm trying not to look at the other lady who I originally spoke to. And this lady instantly was like, this is not an original yellow fever vaccine card because it's actually a yellow piece of paper and it's a little booklet as opposed to a shitty little piece of paper that I just got printed out with all my information on it. And so I shit you not, this lady literally brings over 6 different people, her supervisor, all looking at this thing. They're saying, yeah, I don't think it's going to work. And I said, I need to get to Aruba. And they said, okay, what we can do is contact Aruba's migration. And so they contacted Aruba's migration and said, are you going to take this physical copy when he gets there? Or will you take the digital one? And they said, yeah, we'll see when he gets there. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, fuck. First off, this is not a real vaccine card. I just made this up. 2, I'm like, well, fuck, what the hell are they going to do when I get to Aruba? Just send me somewhere else? Or are they going to keep me there? What the hell's going to go on? I was like, I don't care. Just once I get on the plane, if I get to Aruba, I'll figure a way to talk my way out of it because they'll speak better English. I'll be able to communicate and I'll figure it out. So I get on the plane, end up going to Aruba, and when I land, I'm like, okay, on my boarding pass, it says, like, warning. It's like a fucking warning label telling them that I'm a threat or something like that. So I'm assuming that right when I get to Aruba, there's going to be substantial issues. So I just sneak up, be very pleasant to the front desk lady who's stamping passports. She starts a little conversation with me. She doesn't even ask about the vaccine card. I sneak out and I'm good to go. Now, this is not that big of a deal. This is just a very simple thing that took some problem solving and resilience to get over. Because most people, if they went to the airport and they said it is not possible to board this plane without a physical copy of a vaccine card that you have never even heard of, then they would just go home. Or they would try and justify their reasons for not doing something because a problem arose. The problem with that thinking is, in business or in life, every single time I level up, once we start to grow the team and now we're really taking on a lot of clients, we are coming up with massive problems every single day. If we looked at those problems and said, well, we didn't think this was going to happen, therefore we're just going to shut down the business and fucking who cares? No, you don't do that. You figure out a way to overcome any obstacle that comes at you, or your business is going to shut down. And every single day I'm getting reminded how often I get kicked in the fucking balls. But you start to wear a cup and you start to realize that, you know what, I can take this kick in the balls, and I'm just going to continuously take whatever's thrown at me, and I know that I have the ability to solve it no matter what it is. And so when that's the case, it doesn't matter what happens, where we go, but I just know for 100% doubt, with no doubt, that I'm going to figure it out either way. And with that thought process and that mindset, it allows you to go through life without having to worry about much, because when something bad happens, you just figure it out. Which I was never really like this until the business started to scale. Even 2 years ago, when I was more so just a high-paying job, where I was self-employed, had a few clients, but didn't have a lot of overhead or a lot of employees, or we didn't have a lot going for us. I did not have that same ability of resilience. But as the business scaled, as we were really now ramping shit up, now problems arrive so much more frequently every single day, quite literally, and the problems are getting so much bigger in magnitude. Now any other problem seems so minuscule. And so what you'll start to see is the guys who run the largest businesses, they have such a high tolerance for solving problems and such a low tolerance for things that they'll even see as an issue, because they've solved so many things, it becomes much easier. So now we're going to dinner, right, Kayla?
You made it to Aruba.
Exactly. You excited for dinner?
Yeah.
Let's see the fit. Looks good. Kayla always makes sure that we're matching, so she got this shirt. She actually got my entire wardrobe for Aruba, and so now we're gonna get shit handled. And she surprised me with this room. Happy 23rd birthday. Wow. So sweet, Kayla.
Yeah, we're working on TikTok.
I guess we're working on it.
Tell them to stay tuned.
I guess we're working on TikTok as well. And so now we're gonna just go enjoy a nice dinner and then do some excursions tomorrow.